Any further ado, we'd like to introduce our very first semifinals competitor for the 2018 World Barista Championship, representing New Zealand, Jhon Gordon. Jhon is here representing Gorilla Gear. Jhon will shake the hands of his judges while they take the stage. So exciting, our first competitor for today.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I can't wait to see his performance.
Jhon, a seasoned competitor, been on the WBC circuit for quite some time. We're going to let Jhon take it from here. And Jhon, best of luck to you today.
Good luck.
So we have our first competitor, who's Jhon Gordon from New Zealand.
So, welcome. We all start our coffee careers in different areas, and some of us progress through different stages until we find our calling. Now for me, I went from barista to roaster to technician, and now onto equipment development, where I've become obsessed with technology in our industry. If you could please just flip over this way, stage 2 for me. I'm going to start grinding some coffee.
Jhon using...
Ethiopian coffees are what inspired me to pursue a career in the industry. And this is where my heart would always be drawn to on the cupping table. So when I took my first trip to Ethiopia, I couldn't help but fall in love with the beauty of the country and the people. But I couldn't believe the issues that they had when processing coffee every day. And because of this, I believe we're only seeing just a tiny insight into this country's full potential. If you could please flip over stage 3 for me. Now, this limitation of potential boils down to the accessibility to modern resources, techniques, and technology. One of the main issues that I witnessed was a lack of accessibility to a reliable power source. And when washing stations have power outages, collected cherries sit in bags for way too long, leading to unwanted fermentation and even worse, rotting. However, there are modern solutions to avoid all of these issues, like whole cherry carbonic maceration. So if you please flip over stage 4 for me, thank you. Now this is a simple step that achieves consistency with intensified characteristics and clarity. And best of all, it doesn't require any power. Okay, as you can see in stage 4, the collected cherries are placed inside sealed tanks and then flushed with CO2 every day to eliminate oxygen. Fermentation is complete. From ZB washing station in the Adola area of Sidamo, Guji. Now this new washing station is run by Ayana. And with the help of Project Origin, Ayana has conducted experimental carbonic maceration lots that have shown a greater flavor diversity in Ethiopian coffees.
He's really using the table setup so he can get a lot of talking done whilst he's preparing all his coffees.
I'm going to be serving your espresso course first today. Now this is at a short contact time during fermentation in the tank to increase that flavour intensity and give us a stunning new flavour of kiwi fruit. So I'd like you to make your way over to the other side of the tables where you'll see your menu for today, and then I'll be with you shortly.
So here we have Jhon drawing on a wealth of experience over a number of years in different areas of the industry. I tasted this coffee this morning and it was incredibly tropical, super clean, crisp espresso, something very, very unusual.
For your signature course, traditional washed coffee from the same washing station, and has a fantastic citrus-like acidity. Now these first two espressos I'm going to be processing through this distill, which I'll explain more about later. So again, starting with your espresso course first today, excuse me. If you just have a look at your tasting notes, and then I'll be with you shortly.
So Jhon's coffee has a lot of complexity. Each sip, there are a myriad of different flavours and colours and everything involved. So he's just getting the judges to look at his menu cards with all the very important thing in barista competitions is set up expectation and then to hopefully deliver on them.
These coffees are the first year?
Yeah, so these are among the first experiments. So this was a small lot that came in and was just wildly tropical, super clean. It's pretty amazing to see the diversity of flavors coming out of Ethiopia without even pushing these experiments too far. So these are going to evolve and evolve over the next few years, which is extremely exciting.
And so Jhon last competed in the Worlds in Melbourne. He's the Ethiopian coffee fan and he saw us. He's been in love with this country, I think, for his whole
life. These beautiful...
For your espresso course, I'm using a recipe of 20 grams in and 45 grams out to accentuate that kiwi fruit. Now before tasting, I'd like you to stir 5 times from top to bottom, back to front. Now please assess the crema. Hold off on tasting just yet. We're going to wait for it to cool just a little bit. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, on your first sip, you're going to sweetness and a medium acidity and then a medium to low bitterness. And then the second sip is all about flavor. Here you'll find that green kiwi fruit and then a beautiful stunning passion fruit. And then on your third and final sip, once the espresso starts to cool, I want you to focus on tactile with a medium weight and a smooth velvety-like texture, and then we've got a long enjoy.
So we saw those beautiful espresso cups with a thin fluted lip. Jhon's really taken a lot of effort into controlling the experience that they can get from this coffee, because obviously everyone tastes different flavors when they taste this one, so he wants to really guide that experience, specific with the amount of stirring, the amount of time they wait, the number of sips, so guiding that experience.
At the beginning there, got some insight into Jhon's complex career in coffees. He's worn all the hats, he's done almost everything. Really interesting how he said different people find out what they end up enjoying about coffee the most and the bit they want to focus on. And Jhon does have a real interest in technology, designing his own technology from scratch, working and collaborating with other people. And so I presume here he sees an opportunity to take that love of technology and see how it implements producing level.
Is the roast different for his milk coffee?
So he's slightly changed his profile. Both of them are roasted on the Stronghold roaster. And it was very interesting to taste this coffee versus our drum roasters. Completely different approaches and different sort of colours and flavours.
You guys doing all good? Now for you, milk course today, this contact time during fermentation was longer to increase that flavour intensity, sweetness and body. And with a recipe of 22 grams in and 36 grams out, this is where you'll find the beautiful flavours of milk, of white chocolate, melted white chocolate, and then pink strawberry marshmallows. Now this is where my love of technology comes into play. I roasted these coffees on a Stronghold roaster that has a vertical drum and utilises a combination of hot air and halogen heat sources. Thank you very much. Now this advanced roasting technology has allowed me to focus on a more internal development and increasing that caramelization of sugars, giving it that higher sweetness and more body. Thank you very much.
So the Stronghold is a South Korean
with this
roasting
technology,
device.
I only had 6 kilos of this experimental lot. And it gave me full confidence of being able to roast my coffee and then weeks later dial in the same roast that enabled me to reproduce those flavors of melted white chocolate and beautiful pink strawberry marshmallow.
The intensity of flavour coming out of this milk coffee is it's something that's it's a unique experience. It's almost confectionery in its sweetness and extremely rich. And he's done an amazing job roasting this coffee for milk based.
And I also think people haven't picked up there's an awful lot of things happening on his machine table whilst he's making these other beverages. So all the components of the signature
As Maxwell said, it's so interesting to see like always building up his
Sorry to
approach
rush you.
to
Now, when I was
technology
traveling
from
around
his
Ethiopia,
principles to
I not only
make
saw
drink
issues
all
with
the
power,
way.
but also a clean, reliable water source. So I wanted to think of some solutions to be able to deal with this problem. So this distill eliminates odors, bacteria, and over 99% of impurities. And the espressos that I placed in here earlier have now been completely clarified. Now this has given us an intense lime aromatics and a sparkling sherbet-like acidity. So now I wanted to add all of those complexities that carbonic maceration has provided us in the previous 2 courses. To do that, I'm going to start with a carbonic macerated kiwi fruit pulp. Now this has been blended and then macerated for 12 hours and then strained through a muslin cloth, and I'm adding 30 grams of this. And this is going to give us that kiwi fruit velvety texture. And then I wanted to add, so now I'm going to add a carbonic macerated strawberry pulp. Now this has also been blended, but this time macerated for 24 hours. And I'm adding 15 grams of this for that sweetness and body. Now I'm going to add 4 more espressos of that traditional washed coffee, and I've filtered it through a paper filter to give it balance. Now this drink is served cold over a stainless steel ice ball to maintain that environment structure and consistency without any dilution. So for your tasting instructions today, you're going to be taking 3 sips. And then what I'd like you to do is roll the glass in between each sip. So at first, you're going to get that fantastic lime aroma. Then on your first sip, this beautiful kiwi fruit and velvety texture. Then on your second sip, that intense lime in the flavor as well. And then on your third and final sip, you're going to get a fantastic new experience of fresh raspberries. Judges, please lift the lids and enjoy. Thank you very much, Tom. Thanks, man. Can I just grab my water, please?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we talk to our very first semifinalist for today, remember, log in either at home or here in the venue, log into our live stream where you can actually ask some questions of the competitors. We'll get those on our screens here and ask competitors appropriate questions, of course, but we'll ask them some interesting facts that you want to hear at home or here in the venue. But without further ado,
Yes, Jhon. So I've heard this is your third time actually coming to the World Finals, and the 2 time was in UK. Was
Actually 3.
Oh, 3
So
times.
this is actually my 4th WBC and
Whoa.
fifth time on the world stage.
Whoa. So
Yeah.
how do you feel about it? Like, I know you're working at Gorilla Gear right
Gear,
now,
yeah.
and then how is it changing from you to having this career right now, and then make you to become a better barista?
To be honest, in terms of competition, this has felt like brand new all over again. So that's been quite interesting. But I mean, now I spend most of my time behind a computer, and so it's very, very different to, I mean, making coffee is kind of like riding a horse, but yeah, it's actually been really nice to get back behind a machine and yeah, have a bit of a focus always back on the coffee.
I think your judges want to shake
Thank
your
you very
hand
much.
right in front of the
Thank you.
camera. We want to get that moment
Thank you.
for us, for sure.
Thank you. Thanks, mate.
Jhon, being in the equipment production side, equipment development side, has that really focused your concentration on knowing what tools you have, manipulating the equipment to get the best results?
Yeah, when I first started to understand equipment a bit better, I felt like that really made me a much, much better barista. And now going, 10 steps further, understanding how our equipment works really, really, really pushes those kind of boundaries of what we can actually do with coffee. So, yeah, I love it.
We have people say online that you look calmer today compared to the preliminary round. How do you feel about that?
The other day, I was so hot. Like, I don't know if anybody could see the sweat coming off my head, but I was just extremely hot and.
We
Yeah.
finally turned on the air for you.
Yeah. I run cold a lot better, so yeah.
Anyone that you want to thank that's here with you today or back home, Jhon?
There's a whole bunch of them up there. The Honor Coffee guys, and especially Sammy, who's really pulled out all the stops just for getting everything ready. And my girlfriend Maina has done an amazing job of not being in coffee and seeing all of our craziness and being able to just absolutely nail it. So, yeah, thanks all. And Mr. Sestic is somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Not sure where he is, but
Just up there. Sitting up there. One more round of applause, please. Representing New Zealand, Jhon Gorham.